Hello everyone and welcome to episode 112 of Double Cross Anime. So this week we're gonna talk about
The summer season, the fall season, the summer
yeah
season.
that's the summer season. So we have watched four shows that we're gonna talk about today. I'm pretty sure that Whooper watched some more other shows that I haven't watched, like The God of High School, and I have watched something that he haven't watched, like Oregairu and ReZero. But we're gonna tell you about our opinion on these later on. But today we're gonna discuss about the last act, I think the 9 episode length of The Great Pretender, season 3 of Aggretsuko, the second half of Japan Sings, and the second half of Deca-Dence.
It's just the
And
last 3 episodes of Japan Sinks, right?
is it? Nah,
Yeah,
I remember we're talking about like episode 1 to 5 of Japan Sings.
really. Okay.
Did we?
Well, I
Yeah, I
mean,
think
I
so.
wrote down that we were doing episodes 8 to 10, I think, but or
Yeah.
7 to 10. I don't know. We can talk about whatever you like. I just have to
Yeah.
pull up the Wikipedia article and look at the summaries for all these episodes because I watched
Yeah.
it so long ago. Has it been 3 months now?
Yeah, that's right. Because Whooper just watched it once all in one go. For me, I take the pain that of watching it like every week.
Trying to
So
simulate that TV schedule.
yeah, that's right. It's hard to do. I tell you. Next time, just watch it all in one go. Just binge it,
I mean,
and
you
then like forget about it.
You did that with Aggretsuko. You watched it all in one sitting.
Yeah, that's right. In one night as well.
Yeah. I
Like
mean, it just depends on
aggressive
what you want to watch, how you're feeling.
Yeah, that's right. Aggressive Fresco is just like a breeze for me. It's just so easy to watch, so easy to relate to.
Yeah, I too have been, a raccoon or whatever she is in an
She is
office
the
in Japan.
red panda.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also very relatable for me. Red Panda.
And we have like the final volume of Pluto as well. We're
Thank
gonna talk about
goodness.
it.
Thank anime god that it's over.
Thanks, manga god.
Yes. Thank you, Osamu Tezuka.
Yeah, and we're gonna tell. That's right. Uh, Thank you, Naoki Urasawa.
No, no. That man is owed no thanks
No.
whatsoever. Dude, the last chapter was
Yeah.
a mess.
Oh
At
my
least I
god.
thought so. But
All right. We'll talk about that later.
yeah.
Let's go with some things. I would say Japan Sings.
Okay. Leading off with the one that I have no idea about. Sure. You're going to have
All
to
right.
hold my hand through this.
Yeah, because I remember the last time we talked was um the end of the Shin CD.
Yeah, which is episode 6.
Yeah, with episode 6. So we got like 7 to 10.
Okay.
And what happened afterwards? Episode 5 and 6 are like the pinnable of like ridiculousness. So
Yes.
like
That's where we get
uh
the mute kid who says thank you mother and
yeah,
then gets brained by a piece of the ceiling that falls down. That's where we get
yeah,
360 no scope wheelchair grandpa with the bow and arrow.
yeah.
Episode 7 is
I'm
where
listening.
the show starts to get very serious about like its themes of, I don't know, racism, nationalism.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I think it's more about nationalism. It's like how the government, how Japan dealing with the issues. Like by having the law of luck, but basically the lottery law,
Wait, what lottery draw? What are you talking
which
about?
I think so they draw off like the random ID numbers,
Oh, to see who can go on the
and
boat.
yes, yeah, that's right. And and they have like the special, like special. how to call that, so like someone with the gift can be, like they can go on board.
Yeah, and
They are
she's a
allowed
track
to go
star.
board.
What's the
Yeah,
main girl's
that's right.
name?
Let's, all right, real quick.
This is
Her name is Ayumu.
okay. Good thing we started with this one. Now everybody listening to this will know that we're very serious about our job. Job in like
Just
10 sets
keep
of
it up.
quotation marks. Yeah, that's true. She's a track star, and so she's I don't know, a gifted individual. She's allowed to go on the boat, but of course, she doesn't do that. She just decides to stay with her family, and she gives her
Yeah,
spot to a little girl, right, like a baby or something.
a mother and a baby, I think.
Ah, yes, because I guess babies they're not part of the they're not part of the ID process. Otherwise, the escape ship would just have a bunch of random babies with no parents on it.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Sounds like a good premise for an anime.
Yeah, and then like afterward they got onto the boat of like the Japan only, like the very conservative group that only allow the poor Japanese blood.
Yeah, the
So
racists.
they got rejected because, yeah, the racists, they got rejected because obviously their mom is from Filipino, and who can speak perfectly Japanese, and they don't even mention about Kite, who is actually, like Estonian, white hair guy who somehow can speak Japanese.
Well, they probably
So
recognize
of
him from because he's a YouTuber. They're like, "Oh, we don't want to mess with this guy. He'll
probably,
make a video about us."
and obviously they were kicked out of that boat, but they was then saved by another random boat just showing up.
Yeah.
It was really random, like that poor guy. I mean, like he have a hat of gold, a hat of gold. He just like rescue everyone, and the next episode, in episode 8, he was killed really brutally.
Yeah, I was about to say, if he has a heart of gold, then now there's a shark with a stomach of gold somewhere in the ocean.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's right. Treasure.
Yeah, how did so episode 7 on the whole, I remember thinking
Uh,
was pretty stupid. Like the scene where they're trying to get onto the boat, they're trying to get their way onto the boat. The Japanese nationalists
yep.
are preventing them from getting on. And the YouTube guy says, "What are you doing? You asshole!"
All
Do you
right.
remember this?
I know, but it's how in line with like with the tone of Japan
Yeah,
series.
like the
I
random
wouldn't be
uses
surprised.
of the English language, even in the Japanese audio track,
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
don't seem to have any rhyme or reason to them. I mean, they're supposed to be used during like moments of particularly high emotion, I guess,
Yeah. Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh.
or to emphasize a point, maybe, or something. But it just comes off as being rather silly. At least I felt.
Yeah. I just feel like the whole of episode 7 was pretty. The whole thing happened was really quick. That that everything seems so random to me. Like they got thrown into situation after situations, and thing get resolved really quick.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the bridge between the previous arc and the end of the world. Basically, it serves to
Right, right.
connect the
Yep.
nonsense of the weed cult arc
Yep.
and
Hmm.
you know
Hmm.
they like you have to get through episode 7 in order to reach the other side, which is Japan having sunk.
Yep. Yep.
And I mean that's where episode 8 takes us. You spend the bulk of episode 8 with Ayumu and her brother on board that like a life tent.
Like both.
Yeah,
Yep.
I
Yep.
would have said lifeboat, but it's kind of like a life tent, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Um,
That's some. Yeah, that's something you live when you got drifted. So it protect you from the weather, from the bad weathers.
right. And from the
and from
seagulls that might pick at your flesh if you die.
yeah, and from the shark
Right.
that just randomly show up and eat your body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think episode 8 might be my favorite of the series.
Well, I I have agreed with you. So I think that episode I was really solid. I still prefer episode one, which is really really good on my book. Um, Episode I know I admire them for like going at length at Ayumu and go trying to like make sense with everything
Yeah.
and trying their best to just try to survive. I really love that.
Yeah, it's cool. You get to see the two siblings who up to this point have been, antagonizing each other. And there's even been some,
Really?
yeah,
They all right.
haven't they?
They they don't seem that like picking at each other.
Okay.
But
Well, I mean, maybe I'm
but
misremembering. I saw this 3 months ago or
yeah,
something.
but they're not that getting along well, but they all right.
Well,
I
they seem to be kind of distant from one another to me. And I mean, part of that is because aren't they step siblings?
No, they aren't. They come from the same mother and father. I'm pretty sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Because they look nothing alike.
Uh, one part that I really like the most about they spending time together is when the sister and the brother as well talking about like what happened if they die. So like if Ayumu die first, Go can eat her body to survive, just to survive. And I just think that it is like really realistic the way that they think. Like they still look after each other even to the worst of the possibility.
Yeah, I did like that conversation because it wasn't the sort of, listen, if I die, you have to go on
Yeah.
living. You must eat
Yep.
my flesh.
Yep. Yep.
It
Yep.
wasn't
Yep.
it
Yep.
wasn't one of those.
Agree.
It was they were like hesitant to broach the topic, and they
Yeah.
were, they were obviously kids about it. Like they weren't action stars and they weren't like crying babies. They
Yeah.
were just a couple of adolescent human beings trying to figure out what happens if one of them dies. And I mean, part of the reason that the conversation works is ironically because they've seen so much ridiculous death, like all
That
the silly deaths that
true.
have happened in Japan sinks thus far,
Yeah.
have made them the sort of characters who could have a conversation about death and
Yeah.
do it like openly.
That's right. And it's strange to say that, but that conversation like within this context feel like completely normal and makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, and it also helps that not every scene of them in the lifeboat is about that sort of thing. Like they talk
Yeah.
about what they would do if they had one wish. They talk about
Hmm.
how awful it is that the ferryman, the random boat guy who shows up to bail them out, um,
Yep. Yep.
they talk about how awful it is that he gets picked to death by seagulls and eaten by sharks.
Yep.
And they mourn their mother's passing because she at this point. Oh wait, no,
No, no, not
that's
yet.
at the end of
But
episode
that
8, right?
yeah, that
Yeah.
that comes to the point that I feel a bit overstretched. Is
Yeah.
when they was discovered by their mother, and even in the next episode they was discovered by kite. I mean, like if you are stranded in the sea, it's like the chances that you're gonna meet and like the one that like that it's really slim.
Yeah, them being
And that
reunited
this
is
happened
pretty
a
hard to
lot.
believe. But I
Yeah.
suppose that the tides of the ocean all moving in the same general direction means they would
Uh,
eventually meet again. I don't know. I'm just trying to imagine what the excuse is for
yeah.
that coincidence.
Well, that just so convenient.
Yeah.
the plot.
But I mean, I think worse than the convenience of it is like the mom's death.
Yeah. How do you mean by convenient?
No, I mean worse than the convenience of them meeting
Yep, yep,
their
yep,
mother
yep, yep,
again.
yep. That's right. That's right.
Worse than that, I think, is the way that the mom dies. Like, why does she have to
Hero,
die? I don't understand
heroic.
why that's
Well,
necessary.
um, I let's just say that because um her her machine, her
Pacemaker.
pacemaker, yeah, it's going to out of the battery, so like she would die anytime soon. So
Yeah,
um, she just
and she
like
saves
doing
them. She had
one last heroic act before, yeah,
yeah,
before
she
she
saves
died.
them by untangling the rope and everything. But why is it
Yeah.
necessary that all the family members of these two main characters have to die, and all their friends and random uh, children with psychic powers, and why does everybody
Well,
have
this
to
is a
die?
disaster movie. It's a disaster movie, so you know, someone had to die.
Well, yeah, someone, not everyone. But of course,
Right.
Kite lives. Kite can never die.
Yeah. Well, he just become too overpowered for me. Really. Oh, he's an Onodera. I think Onodera live.
Who's Onodera? Oh, the
Onodera is
scientist.
the scientist. Yep.
Yes, that's what happens
Like.
in episode 9. He like straps Onodera to his back and like
Yep.
swims into what does he swim into again? Like my memories of episode 9 are extremely jumbled. I know that
All
there are
right.
tanks involved and he swims through some
Yeah.
weird lair in order to get a
All right.
computer chip.
Because Kai Yeah, Kai had to go to the one of the research center in order to extract one of the hard drive from Onodera. And before that happened, I think I don't remember if they actually successfully transferred the information, um, but the place just explode because just it just happened to be a quake at the moment. Everything like all the natural disaster just like just kind of happen randomly in the series. Anyway,
Well,
he
I don't
tried
know
to
how random it is. I mean, that's the theme of the entire
yeah, that's
show,
true.
right?
But it's right at the moment that they transcript the data and all that. So Kai have to swim out of the tube, out of everything, and he have like one of the oxygen tank. He tried to save Onodera, but the tank was leaking. It has a hole in there
Right.
for some stupid thing, and and when he get up, like Onodera have like already like passed out, but they save him, so he's alive at the end.
Yeah.
But
Happily ever after.
but yeah, but one of their friends, Haru, passed away, died because of the wave.
Yeah, I don't remember what I mean. I definitely remember that he had to run out there, and the running scene was really cool. You know, you got the
Yep,
score by Kensuke Ushio behind it. You got the
and
the use of running motif, which Yuasa has been very into lately, with that also factoring heavily into Devilman Crybaby. Um,
mhm.
but
and
and he was running out there to get the chip, the or the flash drive,
yep,
whatever. Why was it out
mhm.
there again?
Some Go rocket.
Go dropped
So
it. How did Go get it?
all right, because they still have the chips, and Kai just gave it to Go, and then like when they run away from the earthquake, we'll just drop it
Why would you give
down
something
there.
so valuable to like a little 10-year-old brat?
Yep. Well, that happens. Things happen. The thing that I'm not too like to uh I feel a bit icky about is that when Harold runs like with a very nice animations and all that. There's a massive wave just come in and storm him out, and like before that we didn't see any kind of that storm. So like it just he picked the moment where the storm going the biggest in order to come and get the hard drive.
That kind of thing doesn't really bother me. I mean,
It bothered me a lot.
Japan has just Japan. This is a series where Japan is underwater. Like, the weather is not something that you can predict. He could have gone at any time, and he might have died.
All right, because we have 4 shows, so we can just going quickly with the details of Japan scene in order to get into the other shows.
Yeah. Okay. So episode 10, the last one. I remember thinking it was pretty good.
All right. First thing though, I actually like the theory behind, like when Japan sing, there is some island we're gonna pop up again. I actually like that idea. I just feel that Kai it just so overpowered. He just like the plot device, plot convenient to move things forward. He read everything, like two step ahead. He planned for everything. He make it happen. He actually get one of the balloons of his balloon to go up in order to give the signal to for the rescuer to save Ayumu and go.
I mean,
and he even survived after that.
Yeah, his survival was pretty improbable, and of course the fact that his character is like a cheat code does make that scene a little hard to swallow. However, I do think it's a really cool idea that somebody would have to use a weather balloon in order to like reestablish an internet connection to allow their partner down on land to upload that data or whatever it was that Ayumu did. I mean, that concept of somebody having to be the one to sacrifice themselves and get up in that balloon and like brave you saw the ice like forming, the ice crystals like forming on his face, and he was like dying of accelerated frostbite as he was up there.
Yeah, but apparently he's not that.
Well, yeah, I mean, because he's Kite and he's the best ever. But I really like the concept, so I give it a pass. I mean, especially since there's been much crazier stuff that's happened in this series.
So much crap. Yeah. And when Kai just say like I have my fun, so I will leave you guys right here. Just
Does he really say I've had my fun?
He say something along that line. He just say like like my I just come here to help you guys on a whim. So now this is enough.
Yeah.
We're gonna leave.
Well,
he
the nation of Japan is now underwater. I've had my fun. I'll see you later.
Yeah, and then he took off, but so like right before that, I think like it aligned with Kai personality, but Kai is actually really awesome. He's too awesome for this series to handle.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, have you ever seen those little graphics with like all the most powerful anime characters? There'll be like a guy from Dragon Ball Z and a guy from Naruto who have like these world altering supernatural abilities, and then the caption will be, if there were to be a battle royale between all these guys, who would win? Personally, I think Kite should be included in all of those images from now until the end of time. He's just too good. You just cannot beat him.
Yeah.
God himself cannot kill Kite. I mean, he tried. He tried with the elements. He tried to kill him when he was up there on that balloon, and it just didn't happen. He's too strong.
I found the moment that Ayumu received the birthday video from the team before was nice. Was nicely done.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, I did like that. Even though this whole series and thus everything that she's been through as a part of this series has been pretty crazy and hard to believe. I mean, still watching like a depiction of a human being, a fictional character, go through so much hardship and experience so much trauma and loss and death, to see them get a message from people who love them and who have passed away is still affecting for me, at least. Like, I recognizing that nobody in the show is a particularly good character or somebody that I want to follow. Still, seeing them communicate with her, like from beyond the grave. Her mother, for example, was a part of that video. I was like, man, this really hits harder than than pretty much everything that came before it.
Yep, true. How do you think about the epilogue?
The epilogue where she's like a part of the Special Olympics and her little
Yep,
brother is an elite gamer at the
yep.
Gamer Olympics.
Represent Japan
Yes,
of all things.
of course. I don't know. It's fine. You know, I'm glad that they have a happy ending. Um, and Kite is like working.
I think
Go ahead.
yeah I think it's just a bit too pat.
Yeah,
The ending it just uh there are a lot of still images as well.
yeah, but I thought that was okay because that was couched in the idea that it's a slideshow. That Kite has helped.
Right.
Like seriously, isn't that the concept that Kite is like um, working with some organization to preserve memories of like pre-flood Japan.
Yeah.
And so they've put together a slideshow like on a website that I think Ayumu visits,
All right. Yep.
and you
Right.
see a bunch of images of
Yeah.
people in
And
Japan like before the flood
Yeah.
enjoying their life in the greatest country in the world,
Mhm.
because that seems to half the time that seems to be the show's view, and then the other half of the time it seems to be no, Japan is backwards and nationalistic and racist. And I'm not sure what I'm supposed to believe or feel having
Well,
seen all this.
yeah. Yeah, it isn't the epilogue. It say a lot about Japan, about like what constitute of Japan, and like all the Japanese qualities that it kind of lost me as well.
Yeah, it does go like um it leans hard into that at the very end.
Yeah,
At the
yeah,
very end of
true.
episode 10, it's not about the characters anymore. It's about the nation of Japan.
And how this character like represent like the new future of Japan or something.
Yeah, but not even that necessarily. It like looks back at Japan's history kind of and towards its future, regardless of any
Yeah,
one individual.
yeah.
And I mean, I think it got somewhat political about it, and that seemed to be a big point of contention when this series first released. Like
Mhm.
people were claiming that episode 10 was basically an advertisement for the Tokyo Olympics, and that it was either criticizing Japan too harshly for its leftover
Mhm.
nationalism, like in the wake of World War II, or it wasn't doing it enough because
Yeah.
it gave Japan like too bright a future after what had happened to them. It just, a lot of people bringing their politics along with them in their briefcases in both their left and right hands as they marched towards this series on Netflix, and then came away
Mhm.
feeling feeling the same way they already did, as most people do when they bring
Mhm.
their politics to entertainment.
So I would say, needless to say, that this is my worst favorite uh, of USA USA series
Least favorite Yuasa series?
work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
it
my
is. It
least
is for me
favorite.
too. Yeah.
Yep.
For some people, I think it's the only one that they really like. Interestingly enough,
Really?
yeah, I think there's a big
Wow.
group of people out there for whom this was like the most accessible thing he's ever done, which it probably is. Um,
Accessible. All right.
yeah, because even though it
It,
tells a crazy, ridiculous story about a disaster befalling
Japan sings.
Japan, yeah, and
Yep.
people are dying left and right, and there's a whole bunch of weird shit that doesn't
Yep.
make any sense. At the same time, it's
I think it's the least visually adventurous from all his stuff. so that's why it's more accessible in the sense.
Could be. Yeah. I mean, the character designs are still like very loose,
Yep,
and
yep.
the
But
backgrounds are still
but
non-traditional.
yeah, but it's not like overloaded with like colors and like character meltings and all this.
There's some, yeah, it's less that the I don't know. I've thought about this a lot. It's less that the characters, and I don't even know if I can really express my feelings about
Yeah.
it, but it's less that the characters in Japan Sinks are aren't drawn consistently, which is
Uh-huh.
something that happens in Yuasu's other work. Like characters will, they won't look the same from scene to scene. It's
Yep.
just that the characters were designed very loosely to begin with in Japan Sinks. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's part of their
Yep.
DNA
Yep.
is that they kind of look malformed and
Mm-hmm.
and and from a certain perspective ugly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't know how I feel about that, honestly. In most Yuasa work, I feel great about how the characters look and move from scene to scene
Mm-hmm.
because he's interested in expressing something about
Mm-hmm.
how a character feels whenever
Mm-hmm.
he draws them or whenever he directs them. In this one, I don't know. I didn't feel a big
It
connection between what the characters were going through and
all right.
how they were drawn.
I I will say that I understand your feeling because normally for USL work, it's not about the character design. It's not about consistency, but it's more about movement, like the way the character move.
Yeah.
Say a lot about their personality and like the ramp, all these. Like they have like their own mannerism. Here though, like the animation, the way the character move is really like just typical, like normal. Like it's not something extra. It's not something special like other episodes.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. The characters do move very typically. Like there's not. I'm trying to think about moments where characters moved in particular ways that would stand out to me. The only one I can think of is the running scene in episode
Yeah.
9, Haruo's running scene.
Yep.
There must be more, but like, for example, the 360 no scope wheelchair grandpa scene.
Yep. I'm thinking of that scene, but
Even
it
that, I
doesn't
mean,
really
if
count.
you had transplanted that scene into Kaiba, for example, that would have looked
Yep.
like trippy and psychedelic as fuck. But it just
Yep.
seemed kind of boring, which contributed to the humor. Uh, in this show, it was kind of like the contrast between how ridiculous a concept it was and how ordinary and kind of lifeless it looked.
Yep.
That's where the humor is. He could have, like,
Mm-hmm.
in a different series, you also could have made you believe that was real. But in this
Right.
one, not so much.
Yep.
At least, I mean,
All right. You know
those are just
what?
my opinions, though. I like this show does have its fans,
Yep.
and I think,
And I am not.
yeah, I think that's great. But yeah, for me, definitely worst work of his ever.
Yeah, well, I do say that I have a lot of expectation after watching the first episodes because the first episode for me was really awesome. But yeah, it is what it is.
Hmm.
It's just too uneven for me, and we just spent like half an hour for something that like we are not sure if we remember all the details. So
Yeah, we got to speed it
well
up, I
done to
guess.
us. Yep.
Okay, let's do that. What's
All right.
next?
All right. The next show gonna be another Netflix shows.
Okay.
Aggretsuko season 3.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Great Pretender because that's also Netflix.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, this is the
So
Netflix
this season
episode.
is all about Netflix.
Yeah, maybe I should just make that the title of the podcast episode, the Netflix
Sure.
episode. Yes,
Yep.
Great Pretender. Wait, no,
Nah.
Aggressive Resico.
Aggretsuko 3.
Yeah.
All right.
I liked it.
I will. Yeah, I will get this out the head. This is my favorite season out of the 3 season of Aggretsuko.
Okay. So does that mean it'll finally crack your top 10?
It will. It will. Not sure, but you will see. We will see.
Yeah. It's actually I tried predicting your top 10 for the year recently, and it wasn't as easy as last year because we're not doing like weekly uh,
Yeah.
episodic stuff. But yeah,
All
it
right.
was it was good. I mean, I think my favorite's probably just the first season still, just for the novelty of it.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
this one takes a little. It takes a little while for or at least it did for me. It took a little while for all the idol stuff to really click because the way that they
Hmm.
introduced it with like I don't know the weird fender bender that she gets into and the contract that she signs with her leopard boss for some
Yeah. That
reason didn't make
it's
any
about
sense
to.
to me.
It's about to be that way. It's about to not making any sense.
Why?
It's about to be that Retsuko just right into this thing without like without her will, and then she eventually like get used to it and try the best out of it and actually enjoy doing it.
Yeah, and that's great that she ends up discovering a side of herself through her work as an idol that she hadn't known about before. That's wonderful, and that's what
Hmm.
happens in the second half of the season, which is to me
Yep.
like clearly the better part. But
Hmm.
she's an accountant. It doesn't make any
Right.
sense that someone in her line of work would sign this contract so willingly when the terms of the contract
Yeah. That.
themselves, as she notes, are vague. Like
Yeah.
there's no world in which someone in her
Yeah.
profession would
Well.
sign something like this.
No, that say more about her characters, her personality than her like her occupation. Like she know all that. She know that she grabbed the sauce stick out of this, but uh she just being right to the whole thing. Like it's not even in her control.
I mean,
And
it is in her
I
control. She can just call the cops, be like, "There was a
well,
fender
yeah,
bender. I'm
but
sorry."
yeah, but she being Aggretsuko, so she just like just whining and like following through with all that.
With all what?
So but all the the vague thing that like these other people try to do with her.
Uh,
But all right,
yeah,
yeah,
I don't buy it.
yeah, I can see why you have an issue with that. Um, the moment that really clicked to me is like when that manager guy bring her down to the alley and get into the room where the idol eventually playing live there. Um, like for that moment we don't really know that what's gonna happen, and so when like when the door open and you see this is like the idol shows, it just everything start to click to me because the whole concept had always been that Retsuko like being not depressed, but she got like all her emotion just got inside her, and she just using metal music to let it all out, and
Yeah.
this is more than appropriate that she get into like the idol scene and become like a singer and using her like her her metal voice to release to and to stand apart. So I think everything will work for me.
Okay. Well, I mean, I certainly enjoyed where the season ended up going. You know,
Hmm. Hmm.
once it got its wheels on the ground, or I guess I should say once it took off, once the wheels left the ground.
Yep.
Um, you know, the
Yep.
her friends in the idol group, or friends is kind of a tough word to use because the
Yeah.
former leader of the idol group is
College.
yeah colleagues. The
Yeah.
former leader of the idol group, the rabbit girl, of course
Yep.
she's miffed about Retsuko taking her place as the front woman. But they
Yep.
do end up sharing a couple nice scenes together as the season goes on. I really liked
Yeah.
the development of their like kind of begrudging
I,
friendship and respect.
yeah. I agree. I agree. Like at first we saw that girl. I think her name is Manaka as a really spoiled kid. who who would use Retsuko, and who is obviously jealous of Retsuko. And then we learn that like she even older than
Yeah.
Retsuko, and she's still dreaming of becoming an idol.
Yeah.
And that's something like shift my perspective of her a little bit. And then afterwards, when Retsuko become a lead vocalist, and she kind of like starting to accept that starting to see the special thing of Retsuko that like that the fan enjoys, and she accepted that. I think it's like a huge character development for her. So I really enjoy her characters and the chemistry between her and Retsuko.
Yep, that was good stuff.
Yep.
Haida had an interesting role
Mm-hmm.
in this season. He was
Yeah,
kind of
in
like
this
a
season.
second protagonist, actually, because he had
Yeah,
the love
true.
triangle thing going on with Retsuko and what
Inui.
Inui. Yeah,
Yep, the
yeah,
dog.
and like as the story was going on, I was like, "What are you doing, man? Just get over Retsuko.
Oh god.
You have a cute
I
dog girl, coming on
I completely
strong.
agree with you, man.
Just just get with
And
her."
they really like they really for each other's.
What? Oh
Like
yeah, because they're both into
they
like
really,
alternative
yeah,
music, and they both kind of
yeah,
have like a chilled out personality. At least
that's
when he's
right.
not freaking out over
Whereas
Retsuko.
Retsuko like doesn't even care about him that much.
Yeah, and what's interesting to me is that
God.
Feneko, when she's drinking with Haida in one episode, says, "What do you even
Yep.
like about Retsuko?" And his answer is
Yep.
pretty pathetic, honestly. Like or rather than pathetic, I should say it's weak. Like he says something about her like trying to sneak some
Yep. Yep. Yep.
drinks back home from work and being all
Yep.
all suspicious about it. And he's like, that was the
Yep.
moment that I knew I was in love with her. What are you
Yep.
talking about? Who falls in love
I
with
think I
someone
can
based
understand
on
why.
that?
All right. Have you ever heard of the pratfall effect?
The pratfall effect. I mean, I know what a pratfall is.
Yep.
What's the pratfall effect?
Yep. The pratfall effect is like someone when someone you think uh as perfect doing something that completely out of character. So like when someone you like just like just falling down the street while walking or something, it make you feel like you are more in love with them because they are imperfect at that time.
So this is somebody who you're already attracted to. And then you see them do
Yep.
something kind
Yep.
of klutzy, and then you love them even more.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
but
Yep.
the
Yep.
way Haida explains it is that he wasn't attracted to her before.
I
He
think
just
it's
saw
that's a
her
bit.
doing this and instantly fell for her. Huh? It makes no sense. Just get with Inui. She's cooking you food. She's clearly leaning in as you're playing guitar or the bass. She is not
The bass
she's
guitar.
not that
Yeah, the
interested
bass.
in the bass, man. She's interested in the D. Uh,
Well,
but of course, what does
yeah.
she see on his bathroom sink? Something of Retsuko's
Her handkerchief
handkerchief. Okay. Yeah, and that things come
and
crashing down as a
the
result.
two glasses.
Right. Yeah, the two glasses. When I saw that, I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, that's probably
Oh,
enough to plant the seed of suspicion." And then she goes into the bathroom and sees
yep.
the handkerchief. I was like, "That's kind of overkill."
Yeah, that's true.
The two glasses was
Um,
enough. Like if you add the two glasses together with his like hesitation whenever she's like
yep.
leaning in for a kiss, that would be
And
enough for me
and actually,
as a woman to leave.
like Inui saw Retsuko right before she
Yeah.
entered the apartment.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's more than enough. But one other thing that I really like about this season is like how they put all these side characters together in like in other groups. So like we never see a relationship between Haida and that
Gory.
gorilla's girl, for example. but now they are best friend.
Yeah.
Or even Haida and ex of
Yeah,
Retsuko.
I can't remember the ex-boyfriend's name. Did I write it in my
Yeah,
notes?
not on the top of my head either,
I don't
but
I don't
but
think I did
they,
write it.
they
Oh,
say a really
Tadano.
special. Sorry,
Tadano.
Takano.
Tadano. I can't remember
Tadano.
his
They,
first
they
name.
yeah, they spell a really special chemistry as well. Like
Yeah, they're both rejected.
like yeah, like someone even comment like why you are like two different personality, like you guys can hang out together, and they said like yeah, we have something in common. We are
We got
Ratsuko
turned down by the main
non-colors.
character.
Yep, yep.
How did you feel about the weird stalker plot that emerged in episode 9 and then
All
the
right,
attempted murder in episode 10?
it's a bit overkill for me to be
Yeah.
honest. I really like the part that that creeper just come up and using like 30 minutes, I think, or 10 minutes of his of um of his voucher
Yeah, I think it
in
was
order
only
to
5 minutes because he had 100
all right, is it
tickets.
all right, is it just five? All
Yeah,
right,
so I
it
remember
feel
the
like
scene very
hours.
clearly where he's holding her hand and talking to her, like,
Yep,
insulting her brutally, and then he
yep,
looks at his watch and he's like, "Wow, 5 minutes is really long."
yep. Wow.
Uh,
So I really enjoyed that scene because it got the creep out of you.
oh yeah, it was definitely unexpected and
Yeah.
worrying.
Um.
But then
Yeah. But
they take it to the next level
that
immediately, or like
that's
10 more levels in the next
yeah,
episode
true.
with the knife.
That's right. And of course, Haida has to be there to save her, and of course, Inui have to be there to solve the whole thing. So
Yeah,
that
that was pretty dumb, honestly.
yeah, that was really calculated. Like in the plot, but well, like seeing Haida, like choosing Retsuko over, like um, so he using his heart more than what he think is better, because before that he doing all this stuff, and it's all end up with like it's better if he end up with Inui like that. But yeah, he chose Retsuko at the end.
Yeah, he
So
does, and then Retsuko, of course, after the murder or after the the attempted stabbing, is
mhm,
kind of withdrawn, and she's afraid, and then I guess the last major scene, the most significant kind of concluding scene, is the one where Haida takes her to the karaoke place,
yep.
and he I can't does he confess again, or does
He confessed.
he
He
does?
he
Okay.
he sing. He did a metal song as well.
Right. Yeah, and
And
the major point, I think, of that scene was not the confession, because Retsuko already knows that he's in love with her,
yep,
because he already confessed
or
in
not.
season 2 or something.
Or all right.
But more important was like his attempt to get her to rejoin society, I suppose. Like
Yeah.
leave her room, leave her fear behind, because it's been long enough.
Yep.
And he does adopt kind of a metal persona in order to get her to
Yep.
do the same thing.
Hmm.
Um, so
So yeah, everything just worked out for me. I think that this is not the last season that we saw of Retsuko. I
oh,
think it's
there's
gonna
more,
go on
I'm
for
sure.
10 more seasons.
I mean, it's
I
probably
don't
it's probably
know.
cheap to produce. Just look at it.
Yeah, true. I don't know like how popular it is actually.
Retsuko is a Sanrio character, which is a massive corporation in Japan. So sure,
Really?
yeah,
Wow.
sure, it's very popular.
And since it's in Netflix as well, it's got like the reputation for you know for Western audience as well. So yeah, I will see more of this coming, and re- yeah, really enjoy the show so far.
Yep, very good stuff.
Yeah, you know what? When I think of like the Netflix original series, I will think of this one and and maybe Devilman Crybaby. It's like the two, um, like most important.
I mean, I would think of Great Pretender, which
Right.
serves as a segue to our next series,
Yep.
Great
Let's
Pretender.
do that. The Great Pretender. So we got like a whole 9 episodes, I think, from episode 15 to 23. Let me do the math.
It's
Eight
nine. It's
episodes.
9 episodes.
9 episodes.
Yeah, 15 to 23 is it. I mean, if you do the math, it's 8 when you subtract, but you have to account for 15.
For the first one. Yep.
It's 9, and despite being 9 episodes, it still moves at a blazing pace
I
because there is
I
so much material to cover.
Yeah, I would say so in the first few episodes, but then for me, like in the next few episode, it's kind of drag
Kind of what?
because it tried to drag. It just tried to tell the backstory of too many characters, of Lawrence, of our main character Makoto. It it tell a lot of story with a lot of like side characters.
And a lot of fake deaths.
Yeah, that's true.
So many fake
and
deaths.
and then for me personally, like there's not so much time with many of the characters, like the head of the Tokyo gang. I think her name is Akemi,
Yeah.
and the boss of the mafia, of the Shanghai mafia. Like they spend actually not that much time to these characters, so we don't know much about them.
Yes. I would agree with that. Like the bond between Akemi and Edamura
Yep.
is pretty fucking thin.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
the
I
show
agree.
tries to explain it by tossing in a few lines about like her estranged son. Like she once had a son who was
Yeah,
kind of
something
similar to
about.
Makoto, which is why she's so enamored with him. And then
Yeah.
in episode 23, you see her son for like 2 seconds as a way of justifying.
Did we?
Yeah,
All right.
you do. Lawrence sends him like information about his mom or some kind of video or something. And he like sits bolt upright in bed, and then the show cuts away again. I mean,
All
the idea of his character was clearly an excuse for Akemi like promoting Makoto so quickly, like being so infatuated with him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yes, it was
Because all.
Akemi pretty
Yeah,
thin. Liu, we barely got to
yeah.
see him.
Because all over here is how, like the other guy. I think his name is like Ishigami.
Yes, the second in command.
Talk about how, yeah, how Akemi is just a fun of Makoto.
Right.
So like over here is like other people talk about how fun Akemi is, and like some really brief and not totally convincing scenes about, like this is since you make the coffee, I actually kind of enjoy the coffee
Yeah.
and all this stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, even worse than the coffee thing was the idea that Makoto was giving. Remember when he gave her like a little cat trinket
Yeah, yeah,
because it
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah,
something that
yeah,
his mother would have liked.
yeah, yeah,
That was the moment where I was like, "Oh no, no, this has gone too far." Like, I understand that Makoto is playing a role in these episodes because he's
yep,
working under Lawrence instructions.
yep,
Um, he doesn't have all the information. As usual, Laurent is withholding it and just telling
yep,
Makoto to play his role. But he knows enough. Like, he knows that they're going to take down this child trafficking ring. And as a
right,
result, he is like throwing himself completely into this role. And that's something that he can do, but he's also a screw up. Like, he's like a goody two shoes. How on earth did he become like the auctioneer for their child slave auctions? How could he do that? How could he stomach playing that bit, like that part? I
mm,
you know, it's
yeah.
just because there's a
I,
significant portion of these 9 episodes that's like devoted to explaining Lauren's backstory, explaining who Dorothy is,
yeah,
explaining
like
the history of Makoto's dad and his relationship with Laurent. That eats
right.
up some time. you know,
Yep.
could have
Yep.
been used to make everything set in the present day feel a little more
Yeah, that's right.
authentic.
So I do think that the plot in the present day get a bit speed up, get a lot of speed up
Yeah.
because of these of the backstories. Like I think the backstory between Lawrence and Dorothy is just about enough. I think the backstory about Ozaki. Do we say him Ozaki or Seiji? Seiji.
I would say Ozaki because Ozaki is what's shortened to Oz, which is his nickname
Yep.
in the
All
Shanghai
right. Us.
Corporation.
Yep. Also, it's just about enough. But yeah, just the current plot, is pretty thin, and just like what we already discussed about Great Pretender, like previous cases, the more we look into the detail, the more it fall back.
Yeah. It definitely is just a wild
But
ride, and
it's
you're
still,
expected to follow along.
yeah, that's right. It's still pretty entertaining. It's still like pretty smart.
Oh, it is very entertaining, dude. The
Yeah, true.
episode 22 with the
Yep,
gigantic shootout and the reappearance of Eddie Casano from the
yep,
first
yep, yeah.
arc, and then the reveal that they're in a giant fake building on a deserted island. I was like,
Right.
"What's going on?" I was grinning
So
like the
yeah,
whole time. I was like, "What's happening?"
it's so charming, right?
Yeah, it's great. It's just great
A-
fun.
and the I actually like the review that like all these villains from from previous cases just join together to
Yeah.
see this one put through,
Yeah, honestly, I
which
was
is
expecting to hate that when I first saw that Kasano was back, and then
yep,
the flashback with him on the boat with
yep,
Esmail and James Coleman.
yep.
I
Hmm.
thought to myself like this really doesn't make any sense at all, but then I just watched them play poker and have a good time, and I was like, you know what, I'm okay with this.
All right.
This is fun.
I get a pass.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree. I
it's
agree.
like Great Pretender's own rogues gallery, just with all the villains
Yep.
from the past coming back together again.
They just become like a big family, big fun family.
Yeah,
Spending time together, enjoy their time together.
and doing business, as the Japanese would say.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that if they have some more cases in the future, these people, like from Shanghai and from the Tokyo gang, gonna come back to be their psychic
What
because
exactly happened to them? I mean, they were on the deserted island, and then what?
and then I just think that they have the time to just reflect their importance and like all of these things that they have done,
Yeah, but what was
and
their ultimate fate?
maybe they just like get scot free out of all this, like they just pull out on their operation for good because they don't feel because they just feel differently.
Uh,
That's what I think.
that's a bit of a stretch,
I
right?
Yeah, I don't buy that either,
But
but
what I'm asking is, did they go to jail?
no,
Did
no,
they
they don't.
die on the deserted island?
No, they don't. They just waiting in that desert island, waiting for someone to
They're
rescue them.
still
So that
there as of the end
they're
of
still
episode
there.
23. Okay,
Yep, yep. Oh,
gotcha. I
you
wasn't really
know
clear on that. I
what?
guess I was just waiting for a resolution that the show didn't intend to offer.
No, they don't intend to do that. No, I really like the fact that the scene where they preparing the fake building, and they have to get the sofa in just because like that sofa gift was out of their plan. They didn't plan for that, so they have to get it over from the old one to the fake building. I just love that.
Oh, I
Just
actually
love that
completely
scene.
missed that. You're talking about the chair that
Yeah,
Ishigami gave her with the buttons.
yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah,
So
what was the deal with the button that didn't work? What was that supposed to be? Like a trap door?
I have no idea, man. I have no idea. I will have a look at that again, but maybe that's something we can pick up the next time we see it.
Yeah, because I mean the shot that the camera took during the
Yep,
scene where the button wasn't working, it kind of pulled back so
yep,
you could see in the center of the frame like the
yep.
place where someone would stand right in front of her desk. as though a trapdoor would
Yep. Yep.
open
Yep.
up.
That's right.
That's what made me think that.
Yep.
But I guess we never did. I don't think the show even hinted at what its actual purpose was.
Yep.
But then
No.
you've got the knife in the other arm of the chair, and then you've got the
Yep.
poison ring that Liu is wearing to the meeting.
Right.
And you think that something big is going to happen because both of them are planning to kill the other one. But then the scene just blows up in a way that you don't expect at all.
Yep. Yep.
The gunfight
But
behind closed doors, which is just everybody having fun.
yeah, but when Makoto just acting up and was agreeing with Lawrence, I already know that it's going to be fake.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean that's the downfall of, or I guess I should say that's one of the drawbacks of doing a series like this, where nothing that you
Yep.
see is real.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
hard to get like really invested in any particular scene
That's true.
because there's going to be some twist, which was the
Yep.
problem
Yep.
with all the deaths. Like I thought that Dorothy hadn't actually died when she appeared to die in episode 20. I was like, well, this is already the 10th fake death that this show has done, so this is probably also not real. And as it turns out, did you see the
You were
post-credit
right.
scene?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw that.
It turns out she actually was alive.
And it's conveniently that she lost her memory and be all more happier because
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah. Dude, I really love her voice actor.
Really?
Yeah.
I just saw her lips.
Right. Yeah, her lips are huge and she has that Cleopatra haircut.
Yep.
Honestly, I she seemed like the kind of girl that Laurent would be into.
For,
Like she's very
right.
very extravagant and like exotic.
Yeah,
I don't know.
she kind of wild. She kind of just enjoy the moment
Yes.
and doesn't think about anything else.
Yeah, and we
But,
saw him living a similar sort of life as a poker professional, like
right,
after his
right.
mother's death 10 years later or
Yep.
whatever. So for her to swoop in
Yep.
and offer him this life where he can put his language skills and his good looks and his intelligence to use in order to have a good time and rip off the villains of the
Rich
world.
people.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think their romance was handled pretty well in the flashback. I really did like those flashback episodes where you
Yeah.
got to see Shiwon as part of the gang before, and you got to see
And she awesome.
yeah, she is awesome. And Makoto's dad,
Yep.
the name of this arc is Wizard of Far East.
All
Makoto's
right.
dad is the wizard. The arc is named after him. And in the final flashback that we get in episode 23 with Makoto's mom before her death, you can see that
Yep.
all those figures that Makoto collects, those capsule toys, the one that
Yep,
she
yep,
loves the
yep.
best is the wizard.
Yeah, that's right. I like the fact that oops, shit. I like the fact that they have like personal story behind that, so we can see like the importance of like pulling this one through successfully. But like at the end of the day, we are just because of the villain this time are not that fleshed out. So I'm just like not really think that like all the effort, all the years that they take, painfully taking and planning, really worth it.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I mean, I mostly bought it. I accepted the shortcomings with regard to the characterizations of the villains. I mean, there were two this time, and the series had to split its attention between the past and the present way more evenly
Yep.
than past arcs have needed to do.
Yep.
So it was all about the twists. It was all about the whole idea
The
of
big
revenge.
moment. Yep.
So did I believe everything that was happening as it was happening? Not really. But did I have fun watching it? You bet I did. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I could just say that that I just believe 60% of what happening.
That's a high. That's
Like
a large
it-
percent.
Is that large?
Yeah.
Alright. I gonna take it down. I think 30,
Yeah,
40%.
there you go.
But yeah, it is enjoyable. But I don't think like this is like one of their best arc because
Hmm.
it's a take too long and it actually like some of the part they need to spend more time with. But they couldn't. But they didn't.
Right. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't even compare it to the others. I would say it's its own thing. So I wouldn't say it's better or
Right.
worse. It's just different. Like
Yeah.
it's so
I
different in its structure.
I think it worked better if it is like the standalone movies because
Yeah. Honestly,
it kind
taking
of
this
it kind of
case
is.
and telling it over
Yep.
23 episodes, like just omitting the first 3 arcs and making this Wizard of Far East, making that Great Pretender as a whole would have been interesting.
That would have been too long. That would have been like padding out a bit too much for me.
Well, I mean, you could add more
The
detail. You could
story.
just make that or you could just make it a 12 or 13 episode series and have
Yep.
that be
Yep.
like the one arc.
I,
Um,
I, I just I just wish that that last act gonna be like a standalone movies and
yeah,
like people who doesn't know about the previous the first half can come and enjoy the whole thing
yeah.
because they have like the brief flashback a brief call over to earlier cases in the beginning.
Yeah. When he's at his mom's grave.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Yep. I was gonna say something else, but I forget. Oh yeah, we before we move on to Decadence, we have to talk about the fact
Yep.
that Laurent is on stage at the inauguration of the next U.S. president, and he calls
Uh,
up somebody who I assume is Edamura and says, "Hey, you must be dying of boredom right now," implying that they're about to pull a
yep.
con, like he's about to say, "Hey, you want to get in on another job?"
Yep.
And I assume the
Yep.
target is the president of the United States.
Yep. They're gonna do
What?
that. They gonna go that way. I believe so.
So who like the
It
way that the
it's
camera panned dramatically around his face made me think it was somebody we had seen before. But that wasn't the case, right?
that wasn't the case. It's just the president of the United States.
Okay. I mean that like they slowly revealed his face by circling around and doing a 180.
Yeah.
I was waiting for it to be like one of the people who was on the deserted island, like Liu or
Well,
somebody somehow became the president. I don't know.
well, the fact alone that they keep using their real name and their real face for every single
Right.
con they do, just bug me very much.
I mean, I think they just did it for the audience's convenience. Rather than having to keep track of a
Yeah.
bunch of fake names, they just used the real ones. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. But
Right.
as we've
Yep.
said multiple times already, this is not a series to be made sense of.
Yep. True.
Also, the background art's beautiful.
Yeah. I agree. All right. I would say that this is most likely come up as like top list of our list at the end of the year.
Yeah, this will be on my list for sure.
Yeah, it will be on my list. Not really sure like what place I'm gonna place it.
Yep, that's for us to figure out in about 3 months' time, I guess.
Yeah, true. All right,
Decadence.
the last one gonna be Decadence.
Okay, so
How
I
do
know
you feel
you
about the
were
second
enjoying
half?
the show
Yep.
in the first 7 episodes. How do you feel about 8 to 12?
It all right. It's all right for me. It the job. So it's escalate the whole situation and it's like have a nice closure to everything. For me though, the star still is still episode 2. That was like the game changer for me, and nothing come close to that level for the rest of its run.
Hmm. I see.
So it's alright. It's alright. I still enjoy it. It's just nothing that special.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree that there's nothing that special about it. Um, it seems to be,
How do you feel?
I don't know, like the action bits of it with people flying around doing Spider-Man shit and
Mm-hmm.
chopping up
Mm-hmm.
monsters. Attack on Titan
Mm-hmm.
does that better. and the
All
idea
right,
of
I agree.
people transferring their consciousness between robot bodies. Kaiba
It
did
happened there
that better,
before, right?
and
That
the commentary on, I don't know, like capitalism and uh, like authoritarian government.
mhm.
I'm sure that there are many series that have done that better.
Psychopath.
I mean, yeah, I guess Psychopaths was concerned with a system, you know, against which
Yeah,
the main characters were.
battling.
Like in Psychopaths, the characters discovered things about the system that proved it to be, corrupt or inhuman.
Hmm.
Whereas in this show, they kind of just say the word system over and over, and bug, and
Yep.
we know it's bad because they say it is.
Hmm.
I don't know. I didn't feel very convinced that I don't know by anything.
Yeah. Like take it at the climax. So when Kaburagi take Natsume to delete on these all these gadoid.
Yeah, when they go to pull the or like press the little plunger lever
Yep.
thing to destroy it.
Yeah.
What was the deal with that? Like, why did there just exist? Why does there exist a lever that immediately eliminates all the gaddles in the game?
Well, because it's just like part of the game, and when you want to delete like the whole card, you can just like press a button. I think I can believe that.
Okay, I don't really believe that, but seems a little bit too convenient. Seems like a little bit too Indiana Jones. Like you
Yeah.
get into the center of the temple and then oh look, there it is. There's the treasure.
Yeah.
There's the
Mm,
gaddle destroying lever. You made it.
yeah.
But of course, it
Well,
doesn't even really matter because one of the gaddles, and this is what boggles my mind. How is
yep.
it that a gaddle, which is digital, it's ones and
Yep.
zeros, right?
Yep.
How was it able to burrow inside the avatar of a robot playing a video game, which is also completely digital, and
All right. All
create
right.
biological life?
All right. I think it's not Avatar that he attacked. It's like the real body of
No,
that.
that was a robot's avatar. Everyone
All
working in
right.
that facility I mean, everyone who plays the game
Yep. All
is
right. Up.
in an avatar's body. Kaburagi,
Uh,
that's
yep.
he's an avatar.
All right. Apparently, it's just something that makes sense in that universe.
But it doesn't make any
So
sense.
the thing that I have a bit of an issue is I actually think of the guy who tried to terminate Kaburagi. I think his name is Huggin.
Yeah, there's Hugin and Mugen.
I
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that he's gonna be like the main villain, but he's got killed off pretty awesomely in episode 11.
How did he get
And
killed off?
I think Kaburagi just like stabbed a spear to him, I think, or something. Like when he
Oh,
died
that's right. Like the cliffhanger at the
completely.
end of episode 10 is Mugen stabs Kaburagi's first avatar,
Yep,
his original
yep,
avatar,
yep,
through the heart. And then at the beginning of episode 11, Kaburagi just logs back in with his other avatar and throws a
yep,
spear through the back of his neck.
yep. And then he just died,
That
and
actually,
then
I actually thought that was kind of awesome.
awesome,
Yeah,
right?
like imagine if the show had focused more on its concept of like this being a game and
Yep,
the robots having avatars and perhaps
yep.
having multiple accounts and being able to
Hmm.
like trick each other and play mind games on each other by logging in and out of their different accounts and stuff, and as the viewer you would have to keep track of all of that. I think
Yeah,
that's a
that's
really
gonna be
interesting
another
concept.
series.
So
Yeah.
the fact that Kaburagi, what makes him so powerful in these last few episodes is that he does have multiple avatars.
Hmm.
Um, and if you die in the game, as Sword Art Online taught us, you die in real life. But he I mean, that's not true in this show. So he's just like, well, guess I'll go into my backup body and
Yeah. But think about this. When you log in into the other the other avatar, where do you appear? Is that like you appear at the last time they stay, or is that like you appear at the place where you assign it to?
I have no idea. And I mean, honestly, the
Because
mechanics of this
it's
game
very
are not that clear. And
yeah,
they
that's
they
right.
wouldn't
Because
have
it's very
had to be if the show's theming had been stronger.
all right,
But I think
all
in the
right.
end, like as you said, you expected one guy to be the villain, but he really wasn't. I mean, who was the
Yep.
villain in the end?
It just it that it's that Gadol who become like the real things.
Well, he's a big antagonist, but who would you say is the villain? Who or what?
The
Yes,
system.
naturally. The
Yeah.
system. The system is the villain.
Mhm.
So,
Right.
and I mean, Kaburagi, he
Fighting
destroyed.
the
Does he
system.
destroy the system, or does he kind of hijack it at the end and use it for his
Um,
own purposes?
you could say that.
Yeah, I think that's kind of. I think that's kind of what he does to destroy the,
Yep.
beat the Gadol. Um, and I mean that whole scene, all this the use of the CG for the giant Gadol. I mean, it wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. It was fine, but it didn't have me like hyped up. You know.
Yeah. It's kind of nah. I wouldn't say it's overhyped, but I enjoy the journey. Um, I I like the world building for the first few episodes. I think like they become like more straightforward as the series goes on. Still like some of its idea in later episodes, but it's not enough. I think that Natsume Kaburagi, I like his character. I think Natsume become a bit too plain at the end,
Definitely. Yeah, I agree.
and I actually think that Chill is a scene stealer. She actually more memorable than Natsume.
I actually had the exact same thought, dude. I wish that Kaburagi and Jill had been the two main characters.
Right. Yeah.
And you tell their story in completely different places. Like, what would be interesting is you could tell Kaburagi's story from the perspective, or I
And
shouldn't say
yeah.
perspective. You tell his story down in Decadence as he's playing the game, and you tell the story of the robot world from Jill's perspective.
Hmm.
Then you have
It's
the
not a
two
bad
worlds
idea.
that are actually balanced by
Yep.
the two main characters, you know, like existing in different places.
Yep.
How do
Yep.
I
And
get a
actually
job
that
as an anime screenwriter?
yeah. Well, you have to learn Japanese first.
Oh God! All right, I give up.
Yeah, that actually be a good idea. Too bad that I think they're shipping Chill with Minato.
Who's Minato? Oh,
Carib,
the commander guy.
yeah, that's right.
What, were they shipping them together? I didn't really.
Well, they kind of working together. In the 3 years later things.
Yeah, I do vaguely remember that. Oh yeah, speaking of the 3 years later thing, dude, the best part of this show, or I
Yep.
don't know. I mean, everyone has a favorite part, but I loved what they did with Decadence. Like they turned it into Decadence City. It was like a big amusement park.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, amusement park doesn't do it justice. It's like an amusement world, and it looked awesome. Like it was one of my favorite parts of the
Right.
entire series.
Well, I actually say that Decadence always has some neat idea, but whether it's like refreshing or rich enough to like to really explore its themes, I don't think so. Like you said, like the game mechanics are not quite clear to begin with.
Yeah.
I would love to see more of this. But like in general, I enjoy the ride. I think it's a bit like more straightforward in terms of character development and stuff.
Yeah, Natsume is really just like a shonen protagonist when you get down to it. Like a lot of her dialogue revolves around becoming stronger,
But
learning to
she saved someone.
what?
She saved someone. She saved Kaburagi.
Oh,
The
yes.
fact the fact that it's repeated like twice or three times every
Oh, it's more than
episode.
that. I mean, she wants to get stronger. She wants to learn to like herself. She wants to gain self confidence. I mean,
Yeah.
she becomes kind of irrelevant. In
See.
in episode 12, as Kaburagi is piloting Deca-Dence and getting ready to defeat the Gadol,
Yeah.
she in midair is trying to push like a little piece of the Deca-Dence robot into place. Do you remember this?
Uh-huh.
She's like hovering because she's in a zone. I guess she's her jetpack is. She's like hovering and trying to push it. And Kaburagi from within Deca-Dence literally says, "I don't need that."
Mhm.
Like she's trying to push 1% of 1% of the Decadence's framework back into place. It's not as though, she's like she's running to power on the switch that will give him that will power up its final attack. She's doing something that
Yeah.
is literally irrelevant in the climactic moments of the show. She just doesn't matter. She existed to be Kaburagi's inspiration, and then she was
Yeah.
kind of cast aside.
No, I wouldn't say that bad, but yeah, she become kind of plain and like straightforward
Yeah,
at the end.
yeah.
Like does he really play any role when Kaburagi fight the massive Gendo?
That's what I was just talking about. She doesn't.
Yeah,
She doesn't play
nothing.
a role.
Yep.
No, she's doing something irrelevant at the end, and then she's taken into the frame of Decadence when she and eventually people come to help her and they push that little plate, that little armor plate into place on its hand or something. But it's so Kaburagi says that like that's irrelevant. It's useless. I don't need it. Go back somewhere safe. That's what he says to her as
Yep.
she's trying to do that.
Right.
Um,
Um.
and in episode 11, the one before that, she doesn't really contribute to. I mean, Kaburagi's on his own mission, and all she
Uh-huh.
does in episode 11 is talk to the robots a little bit, and you see the little thought bubble above her head where she's imagining what he really looks like in his robot form. She's just talking to
Yep.
the robots and kind of hanging out. That's what she's
Oh
doing in
yeah.
episode 11.
See, actually, like it's the first time she's the first human to see the guys in their avatar form.
Yeah,
So
which
that
should be a
counts, I
huge
think.
deal, but it really
Yeah,
doesn't
but
end up being one.
yeah, but since but like, we know her character, she just taken that a bit by surprise, but that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right,
So Decadence
I still
definitely
enjoy
definitely
it.
a series with a lot of ideas. Didn't capitalize on every
Yeah.
single one, but definitely an original concept.
Um. Yeah. All right, I agree with that. All right, let's move on to Pluto. It
Let's
finally
do it.
ends.
Yes, it's over. I was afraid that when I got to the final chapter, it was going to be like triple length or something to try to resolve all the loose ends and all the side plots that were
Yeah.
still, left up in the air. But they didn't even do that. They were just like,
Yeah.
well, this is the last chapter.
It it actually a bit longer than normal. So like normally we have like eight
24.
acts, eight chapters. This one have like 10 chapters.
Oh yeah, well, I,
But
I meant when I got to the last chapter. Like the very last chapter wasn't super
oh,
long.
right.
But yes, it's true. There are 10 chapters in this volume as opposed to 8.
All right. All right. I'm not saying that I supposed to understand what happened in the last chapter. I think it was rubbish. I don't even I don't even try to understand what the whole deal is. But apart from that though, I think the show sorry the manga ends well. The best way it can possibly be, I think.
Damn.
All right. Well,
So you think the ending is rubbish, but it also ended in the best way possible.
all right, all right. The I don't think like the last chapter really count because it's like another story completely. But like the whole deal about who Pluto is, what exactly is Doctor Alba? What exactly is like the whole deal is about Pluto. I think they deal with it pretty thoughtfully.
Huh. I don't agree with that at all.
All right,
It seems to me that they
tell me
used
why.
Abra's character as a catch-all for all of the various mysterious characters and robots and scientists. Like, Abra is actually Goji. They're a split personality.
Yep,
And Abra is, the one who commissioned Bora's
yep,
whatever, its construction. And Abra is the creator of Pluto. And Abra is the ultimate villain after suspicion was cast off of him in the previous volume. Abra
yep,
is just a container for
right,
all the manga's various ideas. Don't know
yep.
how to resolve this side plot? Put it in the Abra bucket.
Yeah, and yeah, I agree a bit with that, and to think that the catalyst is the um what is it again? The thing that's gonna be explode?
Bora.
No. So like it was under the
Oh, it's like a magma, like
a magma. Yeah.
something. I don't know what you would call it. A pool of magma.
Yeah, that's something we haven't learned at all in the first seven volumes.
Right.
And now,
Yes, that's
like
just
just by one chapter, the world gonna end because of there is like a large magma just lying down there,
yeah.
waiting to explode.
Oh, now I know what word you were trying to say, or rather, I don't know how to say
All
it,
right,
but yeah, it's
all
not
right.
catalyst. It's what
Oh
was
yeah,
it? It's the chapter with the weather report robot who comes in
oh,
and like here. All right, everybody, you ready? I'm going to explain the plot of the manga now that we're in the final volume.
yeah.
Let me see if I can find it. I'm scrolling through the chapters now. Okay, here we go. I am Arnold, blah, blah, blah. The eruption will happen in Eden National Park. I mean, Eden National Park is obviously a stand in for Yellowstone, which is
All right.
America's most famous national park. And it has a
All
bunch
right.
of geysers that shoot water up from underneath the Earth's surface. And a lot of people speculate, or perhaps it's been proven, I don't know, that
Uh-huh.
eventually the Yellowstone geysers will erupt and cause like huge amounts of environmental damage. So that's based on a real thing.
All right.
Okay, he calls it a pocket of magma, and I'm looking to see what that word that starts with a C that you were talking about. I'm trying to find it, but I don't see it.
All right.
Oh well. Oh wait, caldera.
Codera. All right.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, there's a bunch of magma under the ground, and Bora, the robot, is gonna detonate the anti proton bomb or something.
Yeah.
Like do you remember the scene where Adam in his cell now that he's like been awakened by Gesicht's hatred?
Yep.
He draws all those equations and stuff all
Formulas.
over the wall, and
Yep.
the scientists are looking down and they're like, "My God, it's the formula for an anti-proton bomb." I think that Urasawa as a writer just really loves that sort of motif.
Swing up. All right.
When you compare that scene where he's writing all those formulas to the scene where Pluto draws the picture of the field of flowers,
Oh
they're
yeah.
very similar. Like the idea that a character has some secret knowledge that they don't quite understand, but they're able
Yep.
to like draw it or write it or paint it to create like a really meaningful looking kind of idea, I guess, that he can represent in a big panel on
Yep.
the page.
Yep.
He's really into that. Um, and he doesn't care so much about what it means or how it factors into the story. The more important thing is that it looks cool. And it does look really cool. I was like, oh damn, what does all this mean? What's the secret? How does this relate to what we've learned so far in the previous 7 volumes? The answer is it doesn't. The anti-proton bomb is introduced in the final volume,
Yeah, that is true. Yes.
along with everything else.
Yeah, but then we got like the next plot line about item trying to like compress Gesik's negative feeling, hatred basically, and like take a full control of that. Uh how do you think about that?
I actually am not even
Is that
quite sure
like
what you're talking about.
convincing? All
The
right.
snail scene where he's like holding the snail and you're
the,
worried
the
for a
whole
second
thing,
that
the
he's
whole
going to
thing.
crush it,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
then he
the whole
says,
thing.
"Don't worry, I'm fine."
Yeah, yeah, one of that, yes.
That's one part of what you're talking about, or
Yeah, that's one part.
okay.
So
I
like
remember
that
that scene
scenes
pretty well. What else are you talking about?
and the scene where he fight Pluto and he about to hit Pluto, but then he got remembered by sick memories about I think about something that nothing can come out of hatred or something.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah,
remember
something
this.
along that
I mean,
line.
I remember him fighting Pluto, and the major takeaway that I got from that scene was that Pluto's horns are like extendable. I think,
All right. Yeah.
which is really
Do you
weird.
do
Like,
you remember that? Yeah.
what kind of material
It's
are
the
they made
hot.
out of that they can extend like that? I don't get it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That
Maybe.
but that was my major takeaway. I don't exactly remember the panel or the scene where he he's interrupted mid fight by a flashback. But I remember nothing
Yeah,
can be born from hatred. Yeah.
yeah. Do you remember that they actually start crying
Yes.
and look up the sky and stuff?
Yeah, that was
So they
definitely
they
a reach. I mean, we've seen
yeah,
robots
that's
crying
true.
so many times already in this manga alone, and the
Yeah.
one that had a big impact on me was when Adam cried after accessing Gesik's memories when they were together in Volume 2 in that restaurant. Adam goes into the
Oh,
bathroom
yeah.
and sees
Mm-hmm.
what Gesik has forgotten, and he
Yep, yep.
cries. Like, the idea of a robot crying is like is profound.
Mm-hmm,
How
mm-hmm.
because what it really does is it speaks to the capacity that humanity has for emotion, because robots are designed by human beings. So if in our programming of robots we allow the potential for that kind of emotion, it means that we as their creators are like completely emotional beings.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise robots wouldn't have that ability. So yeah, I mean
Yep.
the idea of a robot crying is like 10 out of 10 stuff, but when when you do it over and over, it starts to lose some
Yeah, true.
potency.
Yep. And then we have like Dr. Tenma with two of his greatest invention, basically. Um, One of them is um, Dr. Alba,
Yeah.
who becomes so advanced that he think himself as a human being, and the other one is Atom, which he always refer to as a failure.
Right. Although at some point in this volume, I don't remember where, there's a line of dialogue where he says that his son has died
Yep,
twice, um,
yep, yeah, that's right.
indicating that he's come to think of Adam as his son, because obviously the first death was Tobio and the second one is Adam.
Yep, 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 that's true.
So nice bit of writing there,
Yep.
to show the change in Tenma's
Well,
character through that one subtle line. I really like that.
yep, yep. And I actually like the conversation between Dr. Tenma and Ochanomizu, when Ochanomizu says something about Adam as well. I try to remember what exactly that he talked, but um, something along the line that Tenma always think of Adam as a failure, but in the truth it is not.
Right. Yeah, I know the scene you're talking about, and I can't remember Ochano Mizu's final line, but I definitely got the sense from it that it was supposed to be something big.
Yeah,
Uh, can't remember
yeah,
exactly
yeah,
what it was.
yeah. All right.
Yeah, because between the two of them, I mean, in the original the original Astro Boy story, Tenma's not a big character.
Yep.
Ochanomizu is the father figure because he takes Adam in. But as
Yeah.
Astro Boy adaptations proceeded along the decades, there eventually developed a like kind of or not a parallel, but a foil. Like the two characters are foils for one another. Ochanomizu is
Yep.
the one who believes that robots.
Has had.
Yeah, that the robot has a heart. Yes, and Tenma is the creator. Like he's the idea of like the watchmaker god, the person who creates and then stands back and removes himself, distances himself from his creation.
So, yep.
Whereas Ochanomizu is the participant god, the one who creates and then lives with and loves his creations. And that dichotomy, I think, is present in Pluto as well. But at the end, you can see that Tenma is kind of won over to Ochanomizu's way of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And the manga doesn't make a
Right.
huge deal about that because it has so many other things going on. But
Yep.
nice to see. Like I enjoyed Dr. Tenma's character in this story
Yep.
in Pluto. I think there was a nice balance of
Alright.
mystery and humanity.
Yeah. All right. The last thing, can you explain for me the last chapter?
Nope.
Because I
Nope.
completely at lost.
No, I cannot.
All right. Who is that teddy bear?
The teddy bear is the personification of the supercomputer that is essentially running the United States government.
All right. I call it BS.
Yeah, I mean it exists.
All right.
Basically.
What
Go ahead.
what purpose does it have that Pro 1589
That's what I don't get.
shot that shot that teddy bear out? Because there's a whole robot just behind behind that teddy bear.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible that what we're supposed to get from, I mean, Brow, in the post-credit scene, I suppose you could call it,
Yep.
after the quote-unquote final panel, where Ochanomizu and Adam are looking up at the snowy sky. And by the way, I don't understand how Pluto froze the magma. Does he have ice powers? How did that happen?
Yeah, well, he just lower his temperature
Huh?
to the point that they can freeze the magma. It's just some hidden special ability that we happen not to know,
Okay.
and it just happened to activate at the time.
Well, that's
No
awesome.
big deal at all.
I mean, the idea
Yeah.
of Pluto sacrificing himself so
Yep.
that other people can live after he spent the manga like eliminating. And actually, what was the point of him? Like, why did Pluto want to eliminate all those other robots? Why did Abra
It-
want to kill them?
It's just out of hatred.
Yeah, but what
Basically.
for? Why them specifically?
Because I do think that Dr. Abba think himself as a human being, so he kind of hate the idea of advanced robots. So he kind of like self resist.
So you think that's like a manifestation of his own, like his hatred,
Yeah. Yep.
like for his own state of being, I guess. Subconsciously, he
Yeah.
wants to destroy these robots because he hates being a robot himself. Like he's angry about his own death.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, I can sort of buy that. I just don't feel as though the plot in Volume 8 about the
Yep.
magma pocket and the caldera and the anti-proton bomb, I don't feel like that has a lot to do with the killing of the robots in the first 7 volumes.
Yep. Yep. Well, I agree with that. I think that the new development of that magma and the bomb is just like out of the way. It should have been planted way better and way like in advance.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel
But-
kind of vindicated by the fact that this final volume is the way that it is, because whole time I've been saying, oh, Urasawa just writes by the seat of his pants. and he just follows whatever ideas are interesting to him at the time. And
Yep.
I'm sure that many people who would defend him and say that that's not true. But
That's not
the
true.
the final volume of Pluto is kind of like Exhibit A. Like it's
Yeah.
kind of the best argument for that that argument.
Yep.
It's the best argument
All
for that.
right. You know that like if I kind of tell my general feeling about Pluto as a whole, I wouldn't recommend this to to I would just rate it like 5 out of 10. So
Damn.
I'm not really that. Is that too high?
I mean, I I'm not a big fan of like numerical ratings and stuff, but I
Right.
can only imagine that most people who have read this think that it's like a masterpiece.
I don't think it's a masterpiece at all.
No,
Like
I mean neither do I. Far from it.
yep.
But
Well,
Urasawa's
I
reputation precedes him.
I would say it they the same people who think Japan Sing as a masterpiece. So well,
uh,
all
so
right.
yeah, go ahead.
This is like the third word of Urasawa that I read, and this is like the least enjoyable thing that I watched from out of the three.
Um, okay, yeah. I mean that makes sense. I've seen I read a bunch of 20th Century Boys, probably half, and I really liked it as I was reading it like originally. But then it just like lost focus, and I got
Mm-hmm.
kind of tired of it. However, I do think that like Urasawa, I mean, we were just talking about how Decadence had a lot of cool ideas. It didn't live up to all
Mm-hmm.
of them. Urasawa's works are
Yep.
kind of the same way. They have they have lots of interesting ideas, and
Yep.
it pursues some of them for a while and then lets them go and then picks them back up whenever they feel like it or whenever he feels like it.
Yeah.
Um, and that's not. I
Y-
mean, it leaves you feeling like when you finish one of his works, it's not a complete whole. It's kind of like a bunch of a bunch of separate parts, some of which you may have liked
Well,
better than others. But it's not the worst way to write. Like you can write stories that way, and people will love them. I mean, he's a beloved author.
yeah. Yep. Well, I actually disagree with you on that, based on the 20th century boy, because I think it's incomplete as a whole. That's the feeling I got. For Pluto though, I just think like you said about Decadent, it's like it's have a lot of interesting idea. It know how to explore all of these like characters, especially like the seven super robots. But at the end of the day, they are just pack of the they just a gear to like to make the whole thing work. And at the end of the day, I don't really think of these characters as like as someone full multi-dimensional that I will remember for days to come. They're
I
just like part of the system.
No, see, I would definitely like heavily disagree. I think Gesicht was a great character.
All right.
I think
Yeah.
Adam, especially when he was originally introduced, was a great
Uh-huh.
character. Urasawa's take
Yep.
on him was like really bold,
Mm-hmm.
I thought, and very human.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed a lot of the backstory and a lot of the fleshing out that he gave to many of the super robots
All right.
before
Mm-hmm.
their deaths. Like for example, the Brando.
Jessic. Brendo. All right.
Well, Gesicht for
Mm-hmm.
sure. Gesicht's my
Yeah.
favorite
Yeah.
far and away. And when he died, my interest in the manga also died. Um,
Yep.
but yeah, I really liked Brando's character.
Mm-hmm.
Epsilon was not didn't Epsilon was all right. Epsilon as a
Mm-hmm.
concept, interesting. Oh, talking about Epsilon, what
Yep.
all the orphans that he takes in. You remember Wasily, who says Bora,
Yep.
Bora, Bora over and over?
Mm-hmm.
If Bora has been sleeping under the earth this whole time, how would he have ever seen Bora?
Maybe because of the destruction, I think. So he see a pack of Bora, I think.
But he was in a completely different country. Bora
Um.
is sleeping underneath
All right.
Yellowstone or Eden National Park.
No, 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 no. I think Bora is. Is it? I think that's the magma who was under that place.
You don't remember when Pluto and Adam went down there and there was like a giant underground blubber baby? That was Bora.
All right.
There was
Yeah,
even a
yeah.
speech
Well,
bubble that came out of it over and
um,
over that said Bora.
all right. Maybe they move it afterwards, but I'm pretty sure that the reason why was he disabled, right? Is because he he's one of the few people who see face to face Bora.
Yeah, but I don't understand how. Like Bora's massive. It can't be moved so easily. And
Yep.
if it had been above ground in that war zone where Vasily
Yep.
was, it's so huge. It's like the biggest robot ever. It's the size of a freaking city.
Yep.
So many
Yep.
other
Yep.
people
Yep.
would have seen that. It's too big not to have been noticed. Like, how was he the only one? I don't get it.
All right. Yeah, I don't get it either. Beat me on that.
Also, the to circle back around to your question about Brow and how he like
Right.
disappears from his holding facility and ends up in whatever chamber the teddy bear is in, and he like kills the president. We're talking
Yep.
about
Yep.
two
Yep. Yep.
different Japanese properties that have incorporated the U.S. president today.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't really get what the
Uh.
point of that is. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
Japan just loves including the U.S. president at the end of stuff in order to hint at like bigger things to come. I don't know.
Yeah. Well. When you think about it this way, like the president of the United States of America is like one of the most powerful people in the world. So
Oh,
in order to like
go ahead.
what?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
one of
Go
the
on.
most
Go on. Go
powerful
on.
people, and in order to,
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that when it comes to like uh taking the power kind of stuff, they are like the easy target
right? Yeah, it's
for
easy to write
especially
in
for
the U.S.
Japan.
president as like, you know,
Yeah.
the top of the food
Someone
chain.
like yeah, yeah, that's true. And someone that like not well liked, so like they can be corrupted as well. So like some basically an easy target for them
Yeah,
to write.
yeah, and that's fine. I can take it. I'm an
Yeah.
American. I have many privileges as a result of living here. If people want to, villainize and I'm sure that as the country's history is very villainous. If people want to do that, then that's I'm cool with it. However, I
All
did
right.
just look at the final volume, and
Yep.
Brow actually does not kill the president. He reaches out his hand and he says "warm," which is the same thing he did when he touched Adam. Do you remember when Adam
No, yeah,
visited
that's
Brow in
right.
his cell?
But
He reaches out,
yeah,
he
yeah, but
touches the
he did show
president.
something.
He says, "So this is Adam's heart." And then he lets the
Right.
president go and picks up a spear and throws it at the teddy bear.
Yeah.
And that's the final frame, is the teddy bear about to be impaled with this throwing spear. So Brow, I suppose that the message is that even a killer robot like Brow with a dysfunctional AI is capable of
Yep.
sensing humanity. And he
Yep.
recognizes that the teddy bear is inhuman, and he decides to kill him, and he spares the president.
Yeah. Well, and it actually parallel with the way that he touching Adam and
Yeah.
say that he's warm
Yep.
because he also recognize Adam as like more human than
Right.
a robot, or a robot can be capable of feeling like a human.
Right. So yeah, whatever biological or spiritual warmth the president
Yep.
has, he also recognized in Adam. I suppose because Adam. So the I guess underpinning like physically underpinning this scene is the idea that it's your consciousness that
Mm-hmm.
creates warmth, because
Yep.
Adam had like a human consciousness,
Yep.
um, the same way that human beings like you and I and the president do. So what Brow
Mm-hmm.
senses in each of those scenes is like the capacity for thought and emotion That's the warmth that he senses. So I guess the final message in all of this is that robots are humans too, bro.
Yep.
Don't take
Yep.
away robot rights.
Yep. I agree with that.
It'll be interesting, how Lane kind of predicted a lot of stuff about how we use the internet today.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
It's
and
actually really ahead of its time. Now that
yeah,
we think about
and
it.
it'll be interesting in the years to come to see whether things like Pluto or Ghost in the Shell were accurate predictors of our future.
Yeah. Well, I don't think Pluto is that masterpiece, but
I mean,
yeah.
if it turns out that like robots develop consciousness on par with humans and become like self-possessed and capable of emotion and stuff, I'm
Yep.
sure that Pluto will be celebrated as like a landmark work
Yep.
for like centuries.
Yeah. We're talking about maybe 100 years from now,
Well,
where we
I'm gonna live
actually
to be
have
130. I don't know about you.
uh, where they actually have like a functional robot that can be capable of thinking, functioning, and think and feeling.
Yeah. People who read up on artificial intelligence and stuff, like friends of mine, tell me all the
Yep.
time, like we're way closer than anybody thinks or understands. We're
Well,
close to
hmm.
robots having, like quote unquote free will.
Wow. Yeah.
Um, yeah, but not really. Like the it's probability. That's what I understand about machine learning and machine
Hmm.
consciousness is
Yep.
the way it's achieved is by a computer running like an unbelievable amount of probabilistic equations at all
Yep.
times, um, and figuring out based on like they by calculating all these probabilities, they figure out how to quote unquote act or
Hmm.
respond. So will they? Will that? Is it possible that that sort of algorithm, like that process of calculating, like millions and millions of probabilities every second, is it possible that that could morph into a sort of consciousness? I don't understand how that could ever happen, but
Hmm.
maybe we will get there, and maybe I'll look back
Yep.
on this podcast and think, wow, Pluto really was the best thing ever, and I was an idiot.
Yep. Yep. Maybe just few years from now, we just like eat up every chapter of Pluto, and think like what a dickhead we was not enjoying it the first time we read it.
Yeah, I should have recognized Pluto's warmth.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So warm.
All right. That's conclude our podcast this week. The next week gonna be another special week as well. That we're gonna do the first impression of the Tensor of for the new season.
Indeed. Yeah, Jujutsu
All
Kaisen,
right.
Taiso Samurai, some other stuff that I forget.
Good call.
Yeah, I'll get it all done by then. Don't worry.
All right. So tune back for next week.
See you then.